Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. We've got more classic action coming your way this weekend in the form of the Jobmont Irish Oaks. We're looking at a few different tracks. We've got all the ITV terrestrial action covered for you as well this Saturday. And Steve Jones and Donn McClean are my guests. How are we, gentlemen? All good, Don? Welcome along from over the Irish Sea.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, no, good. Sunny. The sun shines all over the place these days. Sunny in Killarney there yesterday, and yeah, good day ahead tomorrow with the Irish Oaks, the Judmont Irish Oaks at the Curragh.
Yeah, quite right. Going to be hot this weekend, Steve. You going to be all right?
Yeah, got a bit sunburnt at cricket the other day, but just managed to keep on top of it.
Steve and I are playing cricket together next Tuesday after the first day of Goodwood, so we'll keep you posted on what happens there and whether or not I run him out again. Let me remind you...
It's a week on Tuesday, mate. Don't turn up a week early.
No, did I not say a week? I meant that. Yeah, after Goodwood. That's all right. After Goodwood. I like to get there early to assess the pitch, you know. I take it very seriously. Let me remind you to hit the like button. That's very important. On YouTube or on your preferred podcast app, give us a like and subscribe for free. Makes it easier to take in all of our podcasts across all sports. Head to insightsbook.com for all the best bets as well that we put up here. And again, there's an insights column for all the podcasts. Our producer says, Don, we need some more hurling chat. I mean, that's not... Every time I watch it, there's just a fight, Don. It's just a free-for-all.
That's not fighting. That's the game. Yeah, look, hurling. It's unusual this year because the hurling championship is earlier this year to facilitate the clubs, with the result that Jim Bolger and Davy Russell's hurling for Caster research, that's happening after the hurling final on Sunday. So they're going to be able to pick on players who would otherwise have been involved in the hurling final. So that could be the best Jim Bolger versus Davy Russell hurling match ever.
I know very little about it. As you probably guessed. Don, talk me through this.
My knowledge of cricket.
Talk me through this Irish Oaks, Don. Let's get the market up, and I want you to talk me through it. Is it a disappointing race?
Well, I suppose it's disappointing that Tuesday isn't there for starters. It would have been great to see the rematch between Emily Upjohn and Tuesday. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But look, you've got the Epsom Oaks runner-up. You've got the Ribblesdale Stakes winner. You've got a few progressive fillies in there who could be a lot better than they've shown. Cardigan Joe continues to improve for Jerry Lyons. Emily Dickinson, I think she's got unfinished business. She was a short price favourite for the Lingfield Oaks trial. Not just disappointing there. She didn't run again until she ran last time, the Stenera Stakes. So I think there's more to come from her. So look, it would have been great if Tuesday had been in there, but I suppose you have everybody else that you could have hope to get, really.
I think you're the only person with an official bet. I mean, Steve and I think Emily Upjohn will win, but don't want to back her at that price. Can you see a way of playing the market?
Yeah, I think Emily Dickinson is underrated. She was kind of out of sight, out of mind, but like she was sent off, as I said, a short price for the Lingfield Oaks trial. She disappointed there, and the fact that we didn't see her again until Leopardstown there a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. Obviously something was amiss, and I just thought that was a very, very good run behind Ross Carberry. Ross Carberry got first run in her, and she stayed on really well. It looked like Ross Carberry was going to run at an impressive winner, but Emily Dickinson did well to get close as she got, and it was the first run back after a break. Ross Carberry is a very, very good filly of Paddy Toomey's, as we know. Third in the Pretty Polly, for all that she was carrying 5 pounds less than she should have been. But yeah, I think Emily Dickinson is underpriced. Overpriced. I can see her being backed and challenging maybe Magical Lagoon for second favoritism. I think Magical Lagoon, we had her on side when she won the Ribblesdale, and she was very good that day. She got, she stuck to her task well. She stayed on well. 1.5 miles is her trip, and you can see her running a race. But yeah, I think Emily Dickinson could be the one to put it up to the favourite, the other Emily.
Yeah, the other Emily. Steve, a no bet race for you, is that right?
Yeah, disappointing that Tuesday isn't there, because I was quite looking forward to that, because I've always been a bit contrary. I think having seen Emily Upjohn, everyone focusing on her in the Oaks, well, Tuesday's performance was still very good, and I would have I don't think it was cut and dry that Emily Upjohn would have definitely turned that form around, because I think Tuesday's really talented filly. But yeah, with her out the way, it is really there for Emily Upjohn to win. And yeah, put Frankie Dettori and John Gosden's love affair back on tracks. So I'm willing just to watch it. But like all these classics, they're still very interesting races.
You wait till Frankie Dettori rides Mishriff in the King George, and then racing's whole head is going to explode. It's such an interesting saga. There you go. Look, this is a betting podcast. Is there anything else you want to add from a betting perspective? I've been around the houses, and I want to play from a betting angle. So Emily Dickinson for you, Don, Wynnum Place, Steve, a no-bet race. Anything else you want to say on it?
No, just that I do like Magical Lagoon. I thought she won really well at Ascot. I thought it was a really nice performance. But she's clear second favourite, so it's not really telling anyone anything they don't know. And for that reason, yeah, I won't be having a bet.
No problem. Won't force you to. Let's move on, and we're going to go back. So we're going to go to the 150 at Newbury. This is the first of the ITV races on a 6-race card at Newbury. Cadillac is 2.48, 3.95 for Grocer Jack. Finest Sound is 4.5. Desert Encounter 8.8. Tasman Bay is 9.0. We're going to do about all these big fields. Steve, straight back at you. Tasman Bay, why?
Yeah, I just cannot understand why this horse is the outsider of the whole field. Had really good form last year, had some really stiff tusks. I mean, it was only a few lengths behind Hurricane Lane earlier in the season at Newbury. That was over 10 furlongs, this same course and distance. And throughout last season was taking on the likes of, finished second at Alenquer at Royal Ascot, then finished third, albeit quite beaten quite a long way, behind Bade at Goodwood. But that was the level that Tasman Bay, the races that he was running in. And I think people are just ignoring him because he finished tailed off virtually at Ascot in the Wolferton. Well, that wasn't a surprise given the way the race was run, because I think it was ridden by James McDonald, and I think someone must have told James McDonald down at the start that someone was nicking his car, because he just went off so fast that it was just ludicrous. And it was taken on for the lead and never had any chance whatsoever. Cadillac was obviously second in that race, but the form concerning Tasman Bay is pointless, because it just went off a ludicrously quick tempo. And there's every chance in this 5-runner field. There doesn't seem to be anyone who's likely to put it up to him in the early stages. And if Tasman Bay gets into a decent rhythm, I think he's going to be very, very hard to catch, which can often be the case on quicker ground around places like Newbury. So yeah, I'm more than happy with that price. I think he's got a great chance.
He's got, I mean, I know you've touched on why it didn't work out at Ascot, but still he's got a good few lengths on to find with our selection Cadillac.
He does, yeah, he does. Yeah, I just think Cadillac is the best horse in the race, Tom. Like, he was a very good juvenile. He competed in a lot of the really good juvenile races here. He won the big KPMG Champions Juvenile race at Leopardstown and Irish Champions Weekend. He was impressive in winning that day. He kind of, was after winning on his debut last season, he didn't really go on from that. But Jessica Harrington fitted him with blinkers for Leopardstown back there last month, and he was very good in winning the Glencairn Stakes. He quickened up nicely. He came right away from Georgeville, and then he went to Royal Ascot. He was sold at the Goff London sale the day before Royal Ascot, so he didn't race for Jessica Harrington that day. But Shane Foley still rode him, and yeah, I thought he ran well in that Wolferton Stakes. She did say after he won the Glencairn that the Wolferton was his plan, and stepping up in trip, back up in trip to 10 furlong. I think he sees out the trip well, and I think even a reproduction of that run will make him difficult to beat. But there's every chance that, on having joined a new trainer now and hopefully settled in, he can at least repeat that run. And Jack Mitchell takes the ride, which Shane Foley obviously knows him well, but it shouldn't be that big a negative. I think he's fairly straightforward, and he wears blinkers again. He seemed to improve for the blinkers at Leopardstown last time, or at least improve back up to the form that he was showing as a juvenile. And yeah, I think if he can reproduce that, then he's got every chance. I find it hard to get a handle on Grocer Jack. Obviously, we haven't seen any of them here. Desert Encounter, we kind of know how good he is. He's 10 years old. And I take Steve's point on Tasman Bay. He'd definitely be a horse that you'd be wary of. But no, I think Cadillac is favourite, but I think he's the right favourite. And I think he's going to take all the beating.
I set out wanting to find a reason to have Gross back on side. I think he's a really interesting horse. He was entered in the Dubai World Cup, which was interesting, and declared for it and then taken out. Obviously going to run a different surface. But I get the impression he was, or he's considered decent by connections, but it hasn't quite worked out yet. And I just wonder if the fact that he ran at Chantilly last time, if they feel he wants a bit of cut in the ground. So I think Cadillac's the most solid option. I liked the first start for the yard. It would be a small stakes play, though, because I thought it was a tricky little race to get a handle on personally. But 2 shouts for Cadillac and 1 for a big price back Tasman Bay from Steve. We move on to summer jumping. Steve's favourite. Let's go to Market Rasen, 206. We've got Donn in specifically for this, right, Donn? You say every year.
Summer play. Let me into the summer play.
I know it's the Irish Oaks, but please, lads, can I talk about Market Rasen's summer highlight? Galileo Silver, my selection is 3.55. Apache Creek is 4.6. Ask Paddington 5.1. Jersey Wonder 5.6. Could Be Trouble 7.6. Remainder Senam even is 8.2. Straight back at you, first of all, Donn.
Yeah, I'm with you in Galileo Silver, Tom. Like you're going to feel like you've run the race, I'd say, afterwards, because he takes a lot of riding along. But I think he's progressive over 3 miles. He did well last time, I thought, at Fast Last to beat Jersey Wonder. And look, in theory, Jersey Wonder was up £2. He's up £4. There was a length in it. They're handicapped to dead heat. But just think Galileo Silver, he's that type of horse that he just keeps on finding. Like he was been ridden along after he landed over the second flight that day. So he's that type of horse that seems to find. He wore cheek pieces for the first time the last day, replacing his blinkers. Now Sam Thomas puts a visor on him for the first time. So I think Sam Tristan Davis is a big positive for him. I just think his style of riding suits him very well. And look, you can see Jersey Wonder running a race again, but I just think there's more to come from Galileo Silver. He was actually entering in the 2 mile race at Newbury tomorrow on the flat as well. So they've decided to go here instead. Look, I think this near 3 mile trip and ridden forward on good ground on a flat track, that all suits him well. And I think he's going to take the beating.
Yeah, the angle with him is, for me, is the change of headgear. He just wins. In fact, the first time cheek pieces went on, he was second. But since they were reapplied, he won. He won in first time blinkers. And the fact they're changing up to a visor means that, it's obvious why they're doing that. And I think they probably worked out that he wants to change a headgear to bring out the best in him. And I think they'll keep switching it up. So he just edged it as a selection for me over Apache Creek, which is your selection, Jonesy.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with Apache Creek at Warwick, stepping up in distance to 3 mile 1. And I think the key to him is decent ground, and he's obviously going to get that at Market Rasen. He was given a nice ride last time to pick up Thunderstruck in the closing stages, and Hillview, who was third, is won since. So I think the form's okay, and I just think he's that type of horse that the handicapper struggles to hammer because he only just really does enough, and should get enough pace, I should imagine, to run out. Ask Paddington, the course specialist, seems in great form, but I think Apache Creek is got might just be a bit more progressive, and he's been off for a couple of months, but he does tend to run his best races when fresh. So I see that as a positive rather than negative. He was obviously missed most of the winter before Warwick in search of the better ground, and I think for that reason he's going to be tuned up to the minute, and hopefully Apache Creek will win for me.
Good stuff. Jake Mitchell says some great tipping last week. Lay in Spiral the pick, 16-1 winner of the race. Well done, Jake. You're a great man. I don't know why we brought that comment in. I thought we should. It worked exactly as I said as well. I said she'd get trapped on the rail, and that's where they'd come over. So that's exactly what happened, isn't it? Or not? But sometimes you just get lucky. She clearly wasn't right. Whatever. Let's move on.
Nice to know that you've got a pseudonym called, and you use Jake Mitchell. Have you got any others?
I've got loads of others. Yeah.
I thought so.
I just keep a list of different names, and if I ever come, I write to myself. We're moving on to Newbury, back to Newbury. So this is the 221 Highclere Castle Gin Stakes. It's a Class 2 handicap, just the 8. If this was a political podcast, we'd talk about small fields, but we're not going to. Going Gone is 4.1, Rock Eagle is 5.6, as is Diamond Bay. Rashun is 6.0, Auriferous is 8.2, 8.6 Withhold, Rainbow Dreamer 9.8, and Gold Maze is 21.0. Go on, Don, straight back at you.
Yeah, look, Rashun, I just think he probably should be at least at the same price as Going Gone, if not maybe shorter than right. Like in the Ascot race the last day, the Ascot Stakes, there was a length between them. Going Gone was 4th and Rashun finished 5th, a length behind him. And you can argue Going Gone was a wee bit keen early on. He was stuck on the rail and expended plenty of energy in doing that. But Rashun was way back in the field from a wide draw. I thought he did very, very well. He had to come wide into the home straight and he stayed on best of all. Like the five of the 6 horses who filled the first 6 places were drawn in single figures, excuse me, and he was out in 19. Look, I know it was a 2.5 mile race, but he had a wide trip as a result. I thought he did very well, and then he went and ran in the Queen Alexandra next time on the last day of Royal Ascot, and again he looked a winner when he hit the front inside the final furlong. Stratton just stayed on better on the far side and did him, but we know he comes into the race in good form. He won this race 2 years ago, so we know he goes well here, and it is a race that in which you kind of, for these types of races, you look for the 4-year-old improving type who can, go beyond his handicap rating. But this race, 2 miles at Newbury, the last 4 runnings have gone to an older horse. Rashun is definitely an older horse. He's 8th. The fact that he won it 2 years ago, he was an older horse then as well. But obviously you need that kind of wily, wizened warrior for this type of race. I think he's that older horse who's got buckets of stamina. He stays further than this, and he comes into the race in good form. So I think he's a wee bit overpriced.
Well, I've gone for the 4-year-old improving type. Now you've worried me. For me, it was between Going Gone and Diamond Bay. I've gone with Diamond Bay, who I just thought was screaming out for a return to this distance last time and really handled the ground as well. I wonder if it was a little bit soft at Goodwood prior to that, where he ran absolutely fine. He kept on okay. I think he's got a bit of a turn of foot, which he couldn't show from where he positioned either. I thought 1.5 miles since he switched to the turf has looked a little bit too short at Ascot, notably in May. And just last time, I don't know, this is a deeper race than last time, but I thought he ran as if he was desperate for a step up and trip, and he's been left alone handicap mark-wise. So back over 2 miles and half a furlong, I think Diamond Bay, as a hopefully improving 4-year-old, should go pretty close. Steve?
Yeah, I'm going for the improving 9-year-old in Withhold, who won this race 3 years ago, was 3rd, I think, last year to Scaramanga. And you know what you get with Withhold? You just jump him out and he keeps galloping. And I think he's well enough handicapped now that he can take advantage. He's running in group and listed races a lot in his life. You go way back. He won the Cesarovic, won the Northumberland Plate. He's just a really good, honest stare. And we were talking in the Market Rasen race, switching headgear. Well, Withhold wears a visor for the first time. He usually wears cheek pieces, and maybe that'll spark him up a little bit as well. He didn't run all that well last time. That was his first run of the season, which these days he generally needs. But it was round Chester. Chester, for a big horse who's got a long stride like him, is no good at all. And he probably ran as well as you expected. He was only beaten 4 or 5 lengths. So that wasn't a bad run at all. Should have put the edge on him nicely, tinkering around with the headgear. Clearly likes the track. Just pop him out in front and he'll keep going. And if he keeps going fast enough, then he's going to be hard to get past.
Simple as that. And he's a fair price as well. He's Withhold with the visor on for the first time. Let's go on back to Market Rasen. And this is the 241. It's the summer handicap hurdle, and prices are as follows. Cirque Royale is 4.4, Galata Bridge is 4.7, Wolf Prince first start in the UK 9.0. Don and I agreeing there. Caramelized 9.0, and 12.0 Pisca Pike, 12.5 Cascal Gandolfo, bigger prices the rest. Nice open market. Look, this is with effectively 4.6 the field. Wolf Prince leapt out at me, Donald, on first start for Fergal O'Brien. I don't know why. I feel like, I know, improving horses from Ireland is never going to be easy, but I quite like the horse coming back into a handicap. He's only £3 higher here than his last run in Ireland in a handicap, where it was disappointing. He ran well last time, where they reverted to those front running tactics, and I don't know they'll do that again here. But I feel like going to Fergal's just interested me more so perhaps than going to another yard. I feel like there's just a chance a change of scenery will improve him. A sound surface should be absolutely fine, and I can make an argument that he's a really well treated horse. If he was being sent over here by previous connections, then I wouldn't be so interested. It's just more the change of yard, freshening him up a bit. I thought he was enough of a price to get involved with, because we know on peak form he's well treated.
Yeah, all of that. I think, the change of yard, I'd regard the change of yard as not a negative. Fergal O'Brien, obviously, is a very good trainer. Gavin Cromwell is a very good trainer. It's more like the fact that he was such a good juvenile. Like, he wasn't that far below the very good juveniles back in whatever, 2 seasons ago or 2.5 seasons ago. I know he finished second in the spring hurdle. He probably should have finished fourth in that spring hurdle. Aspire Tower fell at the final flight, and once Cerberus was left in front, he idled, with the result that Wave of the Sea and Wolf Prince both finished off. Like, he did finish second, but even if he'd finished fourth behind Aspire Tower, it was still a good run for that. Like, they're the best juveniles around in those days, or around here anyway, around in Ireland. And he never really fulfilled it after that. But I just thought that his run the last day was very, very good. And you say, Tom, about front running tactics. I hope they do. I hope they allow him bowl along in front here as well, because that was a big run the last day. Like, I know he was beaten by Francois in the end, and Francois is only rated 119 going into the race, but he had Soviet Pimpernel and Off You Go behind him, and they're both very talented horses. Well, you can argue they didn't run their races. Soviet Pimpernel has joined Gordon Elliott, Peter Fahey, and he is now seeing he's a horse who's got plenty of latent talent as well, and he's rediscovering that form. And Wolf Prince he only just gave best to Francois in the end. So that to me was a really good run in the context of going back into a handicap. He's been given £6, whatever his Irish rating, 130. He's been given 136, but as you say, that's still £6 lower than his peak here. And he's still only 6, So yeah, I think I thought he should have been a lot shorter than he is.
Okay, and Steve, who do you like? I haven't got the doc in front of me. Who are you with?
I'm with Galata Bridge, who has joined Richard Newland, who's got a habit of winning these big races at Market Rasen. And Galata Bridge won last time out really nicely at Huntingdon, travelled really strongly, as you would expect, a flatbred horse. Got a beautiful pedigree, one of those Cheveley Park pedigrees. Half-brother to Group 1 winners on the flat, the likes of Voracious and a few others. So it points to having a good level of ability. But the problem with Galata Bridge up to now has been hasn't really settled and has done too much through his races. But last time at Huntingdon he didn't. I think fast ground 2 miles is ideal. We nearly got the treble up because I was very tempted with Wolf Prince going to Fergal, and I think people might be put off by the fact that Paddy Brennan is riding Fergal's other one, but Paddy is sponsored by the guy who owns Castle Gandolfo, so that's not a problem at all for Wolf Prince. And I am very interested. It's just at the back of my mind whether 2 miles around Market Rasen might be a bit sharp, and Galata Bridge might just have a bit more pace. So that's the way I was leaning.
You could probably see him on the gallops. Oh no, has Fergal moved, or has he moved to the place near you, Steve? I can never remember.
Yeah. It's breaking news. He only moved about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
Wait, is that from you or to you though?
No, he's just over the road from me. Yeah.
Oh, right. So he hasn't taken out a restraining order on you yet and moved again.
It's only a matter of time.
It is, yeah. Let's turn our attention back to Newbury. This is a good-looking race, this. I'm excited about this 14-runner Hackwood Stakes. And it's pretty tight at the top. Well, actually, Happy Romance is 5.2. Then Rohan Ascot winner is 6.8. Minzal 7.0 for Man of Promise 7.2. Diligent Harry 11.0, 11.5 for Run to Freedom, Go Bears Go. Bigger prices the rest. I'll kick off just because this is probably the last time I'll side with Minzal, who I have supported on both his starts this year. I do think there's a really nice horse in there. He was disappointing on first start at York. I don't really know what to make of that form, won by Highfield Princess, but he just didn't seem to pick up. It was his first start for a while. He'd run well at Ascot at the back end of last year when third to Creative Force. We know that's good form. That was in the Champion Sprint, and that was off the back of a not ideal prep for that race, which was his target, having had a good bit of time off, nearly a year off, or over a year off, sorry. His form is good. Last time, I'm sort of willing to put a line to. They put cheap pieces on for the first time, and well, I suppose he was only beaten four and a bit lengths, but it was a bit disappointing based upon his previous form at the track. And I wonder if, I don't know, I have a slight niggle given that he had time off, whether he doesn't want a very, very quick surface. So maybe that's not ideal, but I can definitely make a case that he's the best horse in this race. And I think this will be fine for him. 6 furlongs at Newbury. I was tempted with Dubawi Legend, but I just have this thing. I don't love the wide draw near the stand side. I always have that at Newbury. So I was put off a bit about that. And I'm going to side with Minzal, and there's still enough juice there to go small stakes, bit of a chicken, win and place Minzal for me. Don.
Yeah, I backed Minzal at Royal Ascot, and all of those reasons were on my mind. And the cheap pieces I thought were a potential positive at Ascot. I thought they might just squeeze a wee bit more out of him, but obviously they didn't. He was disappointing. And yeah, I think the quick ground after Ascot, I kind of went, look, we might get him later in the autumn when the ground eases a little bit. So he's in my mind for later on, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him running a big race. No, I like Happy Romance. Like this is her track. She won the Super Sprint here 2 years ago. She won this race last year, and obviously she goes well at the track. And look, she's been competing in a high grade in the 2 Group 1 races last time, and I thought she ran well in the Platinum Jubilee without really getting involved. She was just kind of squeezed out a wee bit close home, and maybe that stiff 6 at Ascot is not ideal. A sharper 6 at Newbury suits her better. At Newmarket the last time in the July Cup, you can just put a line through anything that was drawn low. If you look at them from the furlong marker all the way to the line, they're in the diagonal line across the track from the far side to the near side, and she's drawn in stall 1 right on the near side, so you can just forgive her that, put a line through it. And it was a Group 1 race. She's back into a Group 3 company now, and yeah, fast ground is fine. 6 furlongs, course and distance form. She ticked an awful lot of boxes, and like I know she's favoured, and Man of Promise probably underperformed when she finished in front of him the Alcoa Sprint at Maidan, and he is a danger as well. But I think she's pretty solid, and I think it's, the fact that there are unexposed or potential improvers behind her in the market, I think that's fine at 4-1 or 5.2. I think you can allow her that.
And a big price. I wonder if we get the market back up just to confirm the price about your selection, Steve. St Lawrence.
Yeah, the first time I looked at this, I thought, God, I can't make head nor tail of it. And the more I looked at it, the more I fancied St Lawrence. And
19.0.
Yeah, I can't believe this horse is going to start that sort of price, because he's unexposed as a sprinter. He dropped back in distance. So he won a listed race. His last win came in a listed race at Newbury over 7 furlongs, the Denford Stakes, a couple of years ago. And he dropped back to 6 furlongs last year. And although he's by Al Kazim, who was obviously a fantastic 10 furlong horse, there's a lot of pace on the dam side. And he dropped back to 6 furlongs last season and did really well behind the likes of Rohan, and kicked off this season over 5 furlongs. In fact, he's only run over 5 furlongs this season and was third in the Palace House from not a great draw, having had a breathing operation in the winter. Then went to Shanti on softer ground, over 5 furlongs, and then ran in the King's Stand behind Nature Strip, the Aussie horse that bolted up there. Well, he was only beaten, a length and a half by the runner-up in the King's Stand, and he was staying on all the time. He just couldn't go the pace. They put blinkers on him that day, and I think that 6 furlongs on decent ground, where they're going to go a good pace, be absolutely perfect for St. Lawrence. And I think he's got the class to be very, very competitive. It's very open. And I just think he's way overpriced, St. Lawrence. The other thing is Roger Varian, who's been a little bit hit and miss earlier in the season, has his team in top form now. So everything's sort of coming together for St. Lawrence, and winning place, I think, gives us a really good chance.
There you go, winning place 19.0. And as the back and the lays, as the market fields get a bit closer together, you should probably get a little bit bigger than that. Okay, let's move on back to Market Rasen and to the feature there. So this is the summer plate, and betting is as follows. Top of the betting, you've got Mortlock 5.3. Last year's winner, Frankie de Burle, 7.2. La Dominiale is 8.8. Man of the Mountain, 9.2. Texas, 10.5. 13.0 Marla's Promise. Rastello, 13.5. Bigger price the rest. One of you's put up Man of the Mountain. It's you, Steve. So I don't want, no offence, but I feel like there's a really good horse in here. He's just let me down so often now. Why are you siding with this horse then?
Because I always side with him, don't I? Like, I agree. I think he has got a good race in him. I think this is a very tricky race. Maybe I've fallen for him again, but he had another breathing operation. I think that's been his problem, his breathing issues throughout his career. He's a great big horse. Although he's got a lot of pace, he likes decent ground, and he's nimble enough. I think with those big horses, sometimes the breathing can be a bit of an issue. But he ran very well last time at Utoxeter when runner-up behind the machine. And I think he's certainly well enough handicapped to be very competitive. He travels well. He jumps well. He likes decent ground. I'm going to give him another chance. You're
so forgiving.
Well, I do think, like you, and he's not completely exposed. I just think there is a nice race in here, and if it's going to be one, it's going to be one where they go a decent gallop, and he just gets into a nice rhythm. So yeah, but I wouldn't go mad keen on him. But in that sort of price, I can't miss it.
All right, Man of the Mountain for you, Don.
Yeah, I thought Mahler's Promise was a big price, Tom. Like, I know he's stepping up in grade, and he was favourite the last time, but he won the trial for this. I just thought there was a lot to like about the way that he did it that day. He was always handy. He jumped very well. When Statuario came at him, he stayed on well. It looked like he won with a wee bit more in hand than the 2-length winning margin. And he's up £5, but it was a 0 to 140 handicap the last day. It's effectively a 0 to 140 handicap again tomorrow. And yeah, I can just see him getting into a nice rhythm. That was his second run at Market Rasen. He won on his racecourse debut. He won a bumper at Market Rasen as well, so he stood for 2 at the track. Good ground is perfect. Flat track obviously suits him well. And yeah, Seamus Mullen's horses continue to be in really good form. Micheál Nolan gets on well with them, and I can see why Mortlock is favourite, and you know, he jumped right the last day at entry, so going back right-handed or going right-handed for the first time over fences, that should suit him. But he's short, and he's been running in small fields. This is going to be a whole different ball game for him. So I think he's vulnerable as favourite. Whereas Mahler's Promise is proven in this type of contests. And yeah, I can just see him getting into a rhythm again in a nice prominent position, jumping well and running a big race, outrunning his odds.
Okay, that's the biggest price of the lot. Let's move on to Newbury. Oh, I didn't do my Frankie de Burle, did I? Apologies. That's how confident I am. Last year's winner. I remember watching last year, thinking, have they absolutely laid this horse out for this race? And I think they probably had. I think they've done something similar. They're very good at that, coming back for races they've won before, this team. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what they've chosen to do again. Off since April, had a little pause, couple of runs in June. He's off a mark of 139, which is £2 higher than last year. Likes it here. The ground is going to be absolutely ideal, and I don't exactly think it's a much stronger race than last year. So I thought there was. I know Mortlock is very progressive, but I thought there was an argument that Frankie de Burle could be a little bit closer to him in betting. So win and place for me, Frankie de Burle. Right, let's move on to the hardest race on the day, which should be 21 runners for the Weatherbys Super Sprint. Prices are as follows. Maria Bramwell is 3.4, Rogue Spirit 4.7, Eddie's Boy 8.6, Miami Girl 9.0, 17 for Union Court. Dare to Hope 17.5, 20.0 and bigger the rest. This race has got a history of producing winners that have come out of Royal Ascot. It's a nice natural progression for a lot of horses. My best bet of the day is Maria Bramwell, and part of that is because she wasn't unfound in the betting in a race where Dramatise absolutely hammered them. I know, and she was very impressive in the Queen Mary, but Maria Bramwell was supported. I was really impressed with her at Sandown when she won. She was very impressive that day, and what looked a decent field. And that day she was very well backed. Now, Dramatise, I'm pretty sure that Queen Mary form is pretty comfortably the best on offer here. She wasn't lucky, but there's no Dramatise in this field. She's getting a bit of weight from some factions. Remember when Tiggy Wiggy showed up here, for example? I know she's not Tiggy Wiggy, but she carried top weight. She'd been second in the Albany, I think. This filly, she might want 6 in time, but I think 5 is absolutely fine for now. She seemed to handle the ground at Royal Ascot. I know she heads the betting, but I'm pretty confident she's very classy, and I think hopefully she can go a couple better than Newbury last time. I tend to try and find a massive price like a Hannon or a Fahy outsider in this, and I haven't found a winner doing that in some time. So I'm trying to keep it simple with Maria Bramwell. What would you like to add, Don?
Not too much, Tom. I did spend time trying to pick an alternative, but she's 3.25 or thereabouts. All that you said, her win in the National Stakes at Sandown was very, very good. She ran a massive race in the Queen Mary, which looks like a strong race. And yeah, the conditions of this race are such that she cost 22 grand as a yearling. So she gets weight from Miami Girl, who finished behind her in the Queen Mary, which makes no sense. If you're basing an assessment on form, you have to have her as top list, and then it's just a case of whether she's a big enough price. And she's only had 3 runs. She's got 8 stone 11 to carry, and for all that this race it can throw up shock results and has done in the recent past. But the last 2 winners have been pretty well got and pretty well found in the market, including Happy Romance 2 years ago. I think if you're having a bet in the race, you have to have her on side at least, because she's the most likely winner. She's the absolute logical favourite. So I think 3.25 or thereabouts is fair.
Exactly that. As you say, the conditions meaning she gets weight. She should be favourite. I think she could be shorter. Steve, you're probably being sensible and looking elsewhere.
I can't believe the price of this horse, and I'm waiting for this horse to collapse in price. 17.5 there for Dare to Hope. Now it's just ridiculous, because on debut Dare to Hope was very impressive at Nottingham, beating Rocket Rodney. Now Rocket Rodney went on to be second in the Windsor Castle Stakes at Royal Ascot. Windsor Castle Stakes is usually one of the lesser 2, if not the lesser 2-year-old race of Royal Ascot, but not this year. I think that's red hot, that Windsor Castle. I think it's better, or certainly the equal of the Norfolk, if not better. Won by Little Big Bear, and Rocket Rodney then went on and absolutely bolted up in the Dragon Stakes, a listed race at Sandown on Eclipse Day. So that form is really good. Now you could say that because Dare to Hope and Rocket Rodney were both making their debuts at Nottingham that day, that Rocket Rodney's taken a massive step forward. And that might be the case. But there's more depth in that race as well at Nottingham. And Dare to Hope did it the wrong way round. It's not easy to come from off the pace over 5 furlongs at Nottingham. And Dare to Hope did that and was way on top of some pretty useful rivals that day. So people are just getting wound up because Dare to Hope got beat at Ripon last time. But that was over 6 furlongs, which I didn't think suited as well. The drop back to a fast run 5 is going to be ideal, and it is going to be a fast run 5. There's pace all around Dare to Hope. The high numbers have won this race throughout recent history. I don't think there's been a horse win this race in a single figure stall for about 11 years or something like that. Richard Fary's won the race 3 times in the last 9 years, so he knows exactly the sort of horse you need for it. And at the end of the day, that wasn't a bad performance at Ripon. Dare to Hope was beating a short head over 6 furlongs, was away from the rail, and was given a stack of weight to the rest of the field. And it was coming off the back of a 2-month break since his debut at Nottingham. So there might have been a little bit of an issue there as well. So this horse is an 8-1 shot, 8-1 shot, 6-4, even money, something like that. But he's 17.5. It's just crazy. He'll be hammered in the morning, I'm sure. And he'll win.
After that, he'll be hammered. Definitely. Anything else to say about the Weatherbys Super Sprint?
No? I think there's a few in there that I like. It really big prices as well. Woolhampton, trained by Rod Millman. Although he's in a single figure stall, he'll be a massive price. And Rod Millman won this the other year, just 2 or 3 years ago.
Rod, always.
Well, they buy that sort of horse, don't they? He's a good trainer, Rob Millman, and he's dealing with cheaper horses. And if he can pick one up at this, they can aim at a big pot. And he's another one that's been running well over 6 furlongs and won't be bothered by the drop back in distance either. And the other one I liked was a horse called Once More for Luck of Ismail Mohammed, who's really hit form. And he won over 6 furlongs at 125-1 at Force Lass. Just last week or so, and I think that one can run well as well. But they're both drawn lower.
All right. Well, I'll make a note of those in the document, because if they win, we're going to sing them from the rooftop. So there you are. Okay, a couple of shouts for Maria Bramwell and Dare to Hope winning place for Steve in the main, as well as a couple of bigger prices. Any other bets for on the day? I do have one. You gentlemen have nothing else. That's fine. So mine is to. Oh, you do, Steve. Okay, go on. What's your other bet? Come in again, Steve.
Sorry. Yeah,
right.
It's at Ripon in the 328. And I think this time of year, especially, the last few weeks, 3-year-olds trained by Mark and Charlie Johnson up to 1.5 miles or plus. You just get very progressive horses, and approachability ran very well last time at Pontefract. First try over 1.5 miles when beaten by a stablemate who was very well backed. And I just think approachability gets out in front at Ripon and just keeps rolling under Franny Norton and wins.
The time of that race, Steve?
3:28 at Ripon.
3:28 at
the Ripon Bell Ringer handicap. So ding dong. Approachability.
Love it. Let me I'll tell you about mine, then I'll do the sign-up offer. So mine's today in a few hours, but I just want to get it in there. So it's Trillium at Newbury, Richard Hannon Juvenile, who was very well backed and very green on debut. She runs in the 2:08 at Newbury. She heads the betting, but I thought she was a fair enough price, to be honest. I think she'll take a massive step forward for her debut when she looked all over the winner. But she'd been a bit keen and she ran out of puff. I think she'll take a step forward today. And I think she's pretty highly regarded as well. Trillium in the 2:08 at Newbury today. Sign-up offer. I'm sure you all know about it by now, but in case you don't, it's a £30 welcome offer with money back as a free bet if your first bet loses. It is for new customers only. You've got to use the bonus code INSIGHTS30. That's INSIGHTS30. You place your first bet. If it loses, you get your stake back as a free bet up to £30. The full terms and conditions are on the Matchbook website, 18+, be gamble aware. And as I always say, you're most likely to get best odds with the nature of the Matchbook exchange. So if you want to have a bet on something up to £30, you may as well open up an account. And if that horse doesn't win, then, or whatever sport you're betting on, if it doesn't cop, then you get your stake back as a free bet up to £30. So well worth doing. Okay, best lays. Gentlemen, Don, no lay for you? Fine if not.
No, not really. I'll be against Emily Upjohn at the price.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think I think that I definitely think Magical Lagoon can run a big race. I think Emily Dickinson is underrated. I think Cardigan Joe's a progressive filly who could get close to her. So look, she's the correct favourite, but yeah, I think at the price she's maybe a wee bit too short.
Yeah, fine, perfect. That's what qualifies her for that way of approaching it. Emily Upjohn, and you do like Emily Dickinson. Steve, anything for you?
No, I couldn't find a lay. I don't want to lay horses at significantly odds against, and I couldn't find anything at odds on there I wanted to take on. So sorry.
Oh, no, not at all. That's not a problem. I thought I'm going to Newbury in the 4:05. It's a very early market where Julia Augusta is much shorter than I thought she'd be. There's only 5 runners. Shock horror. I know the team are in very good form, Roger Varian, but she's making a handicap debut off 90, and there are fillies in there who we know a bit more about with regard to whether they're well treated or not. Like I thought, State Occasion ran a really good race in the Kensington Palace, and prior to that, she was a winner at Chelmsford. She got the trip fine. She was just denied a clear run, and I do think Stunning Beauty is well treated off 96. She shaped as though she wanted to go back up in distance after that run at Newmarket. So, yeah, I thought it was just more open than a handicap debutant dominating the betting, or a mark of 90. I might be wider the mark, but it's going to be the quickest ground she'd face. She lacks some experience. First going to handicap, I thought there was more depth to it. So I'm going to lay Julia Augusta, who's around about 2.0 at the moment. Best bets for Saturday's action. Steve Jones.
I should go for Dare to Hope, but I'm a coward. So I'm going for approachability. But I do think Dare to Hope, in what is obviously a massively wide open race, is massively overpriced. So I'm going to be a coward and go Ripon 328, approachability at a short price banker.
Don, you're going to Newbury.
Yeah, Happy Romance for all the reasons we were talking about earlier, Tom. She loves the track. She won this race last year, the Hackwood Stakes. She won the Super Sprint on this day 2 years ago. She ran really well at Ascot in the Platinum Jubilee, and then last time in the July Cup, even though she was beaten 5 or 6 lengths in the end, she was drawn to the wrong side, so you can just put a line through that run. So yeah, I think she's got lots in her favour.
Okay, and I'm also at Newbury. I'm in the Weatherbys Super Sprint. It's Maria Bramwell, as I said, for all the reasons earlier on. I think she could be a good deal shorter based upon the fact she's got the best form and she's getting weight from some parts, and she's about sort of halfway down the weight. So I thought that was very much fair enough. That's us done. Don, thank you very much.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers, Steve. Catch up soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Hope you've enjoyed all of that. Just over 45 minutes. Who knew? We will be back with you next week. Enjoy the Irish Oaks. Hope you back some winners this weekend. Bye-bye.